Feeling overwhelmed? Like life spinning faster than you can keep up? What if the key to inner peace isn't out there, but within you? The Stoics believed that the mind, when disciplined, can remain calm even in chaos. And today, I'll show you how. These 5 Stoic habits aren't just ideas. They're ancient tools for living a powerful, grounded, and purposeful life. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe if you're ready to reclaim your clarity, focus, and peace of mind starting now. 1. Focus only on what you can control. Most of our stress comes from wrestling with things beyond our influence. What people think, what might happen, what didn't happen. But Stoicism teaches a simple, freeing truth. You only control your thoughts, actions, and choices. That's it. The weather? Not yours. Other people's moods? Not yours. But your response? That's all you. When you shift your focus from outcomes to effort, from control to clarity, you win back your peace. Every day, we are bombarded with events and circumstances that provoke anxiety. We watch the news and feel overwhelmed by global crises. We enter conversations and obsess over how we are perceived. We scroll through social media and compare ourselves to curated lives. All of this adds mental clutter, pressure, and unease. The Stoics would call this misplaced concern, because it is, in essence, trying to influence the uncontrollable. You can't control whether people like you, but you can control whether you act with integrity. You can't guarantee success, but you can guarantee effort. This is the Stoic divide: externals versus internals. It's a shift from obsession with outcomes to mastery over mindset. When you internalize this, your mental posture changes. You start approaching life like a disciplined archer. You aim carefully, train diligently, and let the arrow fly, but once released, its path is no longer yours to govern. The result is no longer your business. What is? Your training, your aim, your focus. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." That distinction is liberation. It means you are not a prisoner of the world's chaos. You are responsible for your own composure. It also means you stop taking things personally that were never personal to begin with. The driver who cut you off, the client who ghosted you, the friend who didn't reply, these are not your burdens. The modern world tells us to obsess over everything: metrics, opinions, results, likes, comments, reputations. But that's a formula for suffering. The Stoic chooses instead to streamline their concern. They wake up each morning with one mission: to act with virtue, to respond with wisdom, and to make the next best choice. That's it. Not to micromanage the universe, not to guarantee success, not to force a narrative, just to show up well. And ironically, this detachment from outcome creates more calm, more effectiveness, and more freedom. The less you chase control, the more control you gain over your own soul. 2. Reframe every obstacle as a gift. Life will test you. But what if every obstacle wasn't a wall but a doorway? Stoicism trains the mind to see struggle as training, hardship as education. Got rejected? You gain self-awareness. Made a mistake? You learned what not to repeat. It's not toxic positivity, it's strategic reframing. The Stoics saw life's trials as the very forge that shapes inner strength. To the average person, obstacles feel like interruptions. They are seen as detours, delays, or punishments. But to the Stoic, they are assignments. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the challenge is not outside the path, it is the path. Every difficulty you face becomes the raw material for strength, insight, and self-mastery. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the Stoic asks, "What is this here to teach me?" That shift is the essence of reframing, turning wounds into wisdom. Think about the most formative experiences in your life. Were they the easy ones? Or were they the ones that forced you to grow losses, breakups, failures, betrayals, and roadblocks? These aren't things anyone wants, but they are often the things that awaken us. Pain focuses the mind. Struggle exposes your character. Hardship reveals your hidden reserves. So why not embrace this lens? Why not meet adversity with curiosity instead of complaint? If you can reframe your pain as part of your evolution, you will no longer be crushed by life, you will be sculpted by it. This isn't delusion, it's discipline. Reframing isn't pretending everything is good. It's choosing to find value in even the worst moments. It's saying, I didn't choose this suffering, but I'll choose how to use it. It's taking control of your interpretation. And in the Stoic worldview, your interpretation is everything. Events have no inherent meaning. You assign the meaning. You don't fail a job interview. You gain feedback. You don't get betrayed. You learn. About trust, every obstacle becomes an offering. Every pain becomes purpose if you allow it to. 3. Practice negative visualization. It may sound strange, but imagining loss is one of the most powerful ways to deepen gratitude. The Stoics would mentally rehearse loss, not to feel sad, but to train their emotions and appreciate what they have while they have it. Think about it. How differently would you treat your health, your time, your loved ones, if you reminded yourself they won't be there forever? This habit builds emotional resilience and a fuller presence in life. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It wasn't morbid, it was wise. They believed that by contemplating the impermanence of everything, your job, your home, your family, your own life, you could anchor yourself in the present and foster a profound appreciation. In a culture obsessed with accumulation and permanence, this practice is radical. It reminds you that everything is on loan, that nothing is promised, that your loved one's smile today could be gone tomorrow. When you sit with this truth, gratitude becomes sharper and your moments become sacred. This isn't about scaring yourself or living in fear. It's about preparation and perspective. When you practice negative visualization, you aren't resigning to doom. You're rehearsing emotional resilience. You're saying, if I were to lose this, I would survive. I would mourn, but I would endure. And by rehearsing that worst-case scenario mentally, you soften its emotional shock. You don't invite loss, but you stop being destroyed by its mere possibility. You also stop taking things for granted. You realize your daily coffee, your child's laughter, your aging body, your friends, even the sound of rain are fleeting gifts. Most people live in reverse. They expect permanence and are shocked by change. The Stoic lives in awareness. They expect change and are moved by every moment's fragility. That's why Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often that death was near not as a morbid fixation, but as a tool for clarity. When you remember that everything can be taken, you treat everything with reverence. You become more patient, more present, more loving. You kiss your loved ones with intention. You show up with more heart. You let go of petty resentments. In practicing loss, you find your way back to what really matters. 4. Live in alignment with nature and virtue. To the Stoics, a good life was not measured by pleasure, wealth, or popularity, but by whether one lived in harmony with nature and reason. Nature, in Stoic terms, didn't just mean the trees and stars, but the natural order of the universe, including human reason and social interconnection. Humans are rational beings, and our highest function is to live according to that rationality. When we act with virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline, we are not only being moral, We are being natural, fulfilling the role we were born to play in this grand cosmos. Living in alignment with nature means embracing both your human limitations and your human potential. You accept what you can't control: the weather, the economy, the opinions of others. But you focus intensely on what you can control: your judgments, your actions, your responses. This, the Stoics believed, is the true meaning of freedom. It is not doing whatever you want, it is doing what is right, regardless of how hard or inconvenient that may be. Virtue is not something you put on like a uniform when the world is watching. It is who you are when no one is around. It is the internal compass that guides your decisions when fame, fear, or pressure try to pull you off course. You act justly, even when injustice is trending. You remain disciplined when indulgence is easy. You show courage even when silence feels safer. Living virtuously is rarely glamorous. It often feels quiet, lonely, or thankless. But to the Stoic, it is the only life worth living. The world today is full of noise trends, outrage, shortcuts, and influencers offering quick wins and empty promises. But Stoicism asks you to be still, to turn inward and upward, to live by principles, not popularity. In a society ruled by reaction, Stoicism asks you to respond. In a culture chasing approval, Stoicism asks you to pursue wisdom. In a world fractured by self-interest, Stoicism demands justice for others, not just yourself. This path is narrow, but it leads somewhere real. This isn't just philosophy, it's a daily discipline. Each moment is a chance to practice alignment. Do you complain, or do you accept? Do you gossip, or do you remain silent? Do you take the shortcut, or walk the honest road? These are small moments, but together they shape your soul. They shape the world around you. The Stoics believed that if enough people lived by virtue, society itself could transform not through force or laws, but through example. In the end, aligning with nature and virtue is about coherence within yourself and with the universe. It's about becoming whole. When your values, actions, and thoughts are in harmony, life feels less chaotic, even when the world is turbulent. You stop chasing, you start living. That's the Stoic version of peace. Not comfort, but clarity. Not ease, but integrity. You don't control the storm, but you can become the one who stands calm in the middle of it. 5. Pre-commit to who you want to be. Don't wait for life to test you before deciding what you stand for. By then, it's too late. The Stoics knew that values must be built in calm before they are tested in chaos. This is where the practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity, comes in. Before facing hardship, betrayal, loss, or temptation, they mentally rehearsed those moments. They didn't do it to wallow in worry, but to train their character. If you value honesty, rehearse the moment when lying seems like the easier option. If you value patience, imagine how you'll act when stuck in traffic or when insulted. Pre-committing means deciding in advance who you will be, so you aren't swept away by circumstance. Modern life is full of distractions and reactivity. We scroll, react, complain, and conform without stopping to ask, is this aligned with who I want to be? The Stoic answer is to choose before the world chooses for you. Define your values. Write them down. Say them aloud. Rehearse them in the small daily moments. That way, when bigger storms come, your behavior is already aligned with your identity. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your training. And character, ultimately, is training. This isn't just about morality, it's about power. When you pre-commit to who you want to be, you reclaim control from your impulses, your habits, and the expectations of others. You move through life not like a leaf blown in the wind, but like a ship guided by a fixed star. Your choices become deliberate. Your reactions become disciplined. Your sense of self deepens. The world may not change, but you do. Think of the athletes who visualize the race before they run it. The soldier who trains in peacetime for what might come. The Stoic is no different. Each day is a training ground. Each challenge is an opportunity to reinforce your identity. When someone insults you, that's your training in patience. When life disappoints you, that's your training in acceptance. When you're tempted to compromise your values, that's your moment to remember. I already decided. I know who I am. And here's the deeper truth. When you pre-commit to virtue, you reduce regret. You stop saying things like, I wish I had handled that better, or I lost control. You start living with a kind of clean conscience, even in hardship. You didn't always win, but you acted from your highest self. And that is the victory Stoicism teaches. Not outcomes, but integrity. Ultimately, pre-commitment is about authorship. You're not just reacting to life. You're writing your character on purpose. You wake up each day and recommit to wisdom, justice, courage, and discipline, not because it's easy, but because it's who you chose to be. The Stoics didn't think virtue was reserved for saints or sages. It was built, brick by brick, in the fire of daily life. Pre-commit, then live it out. You'll fail sometimes, but even in failure, you'll know you walked the path you chose. That, in itself, is strength. When you follow these Stoic principles, you're not just surviving life, you're mastering it. You gain mental clarity by focusing only on what's yours to shape. You gain emotional strength by seeing hardship as your personal trainer. And you build a virtuous life, one rooted in purpose, not pressure. So when the storm hits, you won't just endure it. You'll stand tall in the center of it, calm, clear, unshaken.